listening to the Bourbon Nerds Podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. Let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll.
And also a Bourbon Nerd Spotlight featuring Jamie Summit, whiskey lounge owner and bourbon enthusiast.
What's up, Jamie?
Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
What up, guys? How y'all doing?
We're doing pretty good. So anyways, we got an exciting episode. We are glad to be back in Season 2. I feel like I haven't recorded in a year, but we've got guest Jamie Summit on, again, whiskey lounge owner in Durant, Oklahoma, called Aegir's on 2nd Street. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we've been open now for a little over a year and a half. Whiskey Lounge in Durant, like Cody said. We got about 200 different types of whiskey up there. It's always a good time up there. We do have a little back patio where you can go up, smoke a cigar, have a glass of whiskey, have a good time.
Yeah, I agree. We've always enjoyed going up there and have a good time. He's got a pretty good whiskey collection, selection and collection. Both of that. It's a tongue twister. So anyways, yeah, we're excited to have you on the podcast, and we've been talking about doing this for a while. We are sitting here right now drinking a Good Times special single barrel limited edition Neapolitan, which comes in at 122 proof. And I will say, so it's, Neapolitan obviously has some chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. I'm not getting as much strawberry, but I'll tell you the vanilla, it literally switches from a vanilla bomb to a chocolate bomb on me. Hopefully I'll get a little bit more strawberry. I love that note in a whiskey, but there's a ton of different bottles that Good Times have. They have a bunch of different brands and stuff. And I'll let Garrett kind of spill talk about the bottle he has, and then talk a little bit, and we'll kind of dive into. We're not as familiar with Good Times. They are kind of harder in our area to get. But I know that I've very much like what I'm tasting right now, and I've heard a lot of great things about them, and I'm really excited to try more of their product offering. So what do you got over there, Garrett?
So this is the Good Times Mezcal Pineapple. So it is barrel strength Good Times, obviously distilled in Indiana. I say that obviously, like you guys know, but if you know, you know. If you don't know, it's distilled in Indiana.
To be fair,
MGP. So it's a single barrel strength rye whiskey finished in extra añejo mezcal and pineapple brandy barrels. It comes in at 113 proof, which is 56.5% alcohol by volume. The cool thing about this one is it has a really cool tater sticker on it of Cheech and Chong. It's Master of Barrels No BS EMM. I don't know what that means. Finest Kentucky Cheech and Chong Mezcal Pineapple. 51% rye, 6-year MGP. And that says that on the tater sticker. So
yeah,
that's legit.
It is pretty sweet. The stickers are awesome. Garrett and I are both suckers for good stickers. So mine has the worm from Friday, right? I think Big Worms from Friday. Yeah, Friday, of course. So also, I forgot to mention this Good Times Neapolitan's a single barrel, so it actually triple finished, which is nuts. Strawberry brandy barrel, a vanilla bourbon barrel, and a bourbon cacao barrel as well. I think where you get some.
Actually,
chocolate.
On the finish, I'm getting a little of that strawberry.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I can kind of get it on the finish there.
What's interesting is Cody was saying that he gets vanilla and chocolate, whereas I'm getting strawberry and chocolate. I don't get any vanilla.
The front, whenever you kind of go to the mid palate, I get that vanilla, and then I can taste the chocolate, and then whenever you're kind of finishing, it's lingering in your mouth, it's kind of a strawberry.
You get like a 2-second strawberry, like, hey, I'm here, but I'm gone.
Well, I mean, it's sticking around, like the aftertaste.
Yeah, I can see. It's a unique. That's a unique bottle. I like it. I think I'm pleased with the taste of it.
I'll be interested in this mezcal pineapple one because I like the bourbons finished in the tequila, like the High West. What was that one called? The Casa Noble.
Yeah,
that one was really, or Casa. Is that what it was? Casa Noble.
Casa Nova. Yeah.
No, Noble.
Noble?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I have that bottle. It's actually really good.
Oh, Casanova is there's a other bottle that's Casanova. I can't remember what it is.
Casanova, man.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll come to me.
All right. So a little bit about Good Times. So the bourbon is a brand of whiskey produced by Three Boys Farm Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. It imports spirits distilled at MGP in Indiana, ages them in unique ways, and then bottles them under their own label. They have 1 million. I swear, it feels like they have 1 million different kinds of combinations of finishes that they have. Some more detailed breakdown. The distillery is Three Boys, which we already went over. They're sourcing. They import spirits distilled at the MGP facility in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. They age the spirits in unique or interesting ways. They bottle the results under their own Good Times label. Good Times bourbon is often bottled at barrel strength, such as 115 proof. They also offer single barrel selections, which is what we're partaking in today. Which is, I feel like a lot of the stuff that we see is single barrels. I think they do mostly. It seems like they mostly do like picks and stuff. Some expressions are finished in unique barrels, such as French oak cognac barrels. I've also seen honey barrels, which I think is a very popular Good Times pick finish. And then Good Times Bourbon is a collaboration between two Kentucky locals, Jimmy and Nick. So, yeah, just a little bit of breakdown of Good Times there. I think Cody might have a few things that he wants to talk about with Good Times.
Yeah, so, well, they reference Cox Creek's Distilling Company, so which is in Cox Creek, Kentucky. They have a bunch of different brands. I know you had mentioned the Three Boys.
Three Boys Distilling.
Yeah, distilling. Good Times is the one that we're trying, which is basically their blended finishes. They also have Good Old Times, which they do like cigar blends and different aged 7-year-old whiskeys. They have another one called Old Rick.
I'm Old Rick. Drink Bailey's out of a shoe.
Old Rick Barrel Company. That threw me off a little bit. Old Zach Bourbon Whiskey. Which is their more like Kentucky straight bourbon, uncut, non-chill filtered. I'd be interested in trying one of those guys. I'm all about some non-chill filtered. They're Bridal and Brit, which is a crafted wheat that they have, kind of wheated bourbon mash bill. The mash bill, and that's 45% wheat, 51% corn, and 4% malted barley. And then they have a Casa Good Times, which is a tequila. And I have not had that tequila, but I'd be looking forward to trying that. And their bottles, we've seen prices vary. Typically, we see these around $130 MSRP. We've seen them as low as around $104 at some Total Wines online. But again, around that price point, some of these, if you have a flavor or know somebody that has a bottle, I would definitely recommend. To me, this is a company that I would recommend you trying a bottle. The flavors vary quite rapid, like quite a lot is what I'm trying to say here. So I know I've had a cherry limeade, which I love cherry limeades, but I did not like that pick. But I am digging this Neapolitan pick, and then I'm going to try the mezcal here shortly, and we'll give you some of our tasting notes and stuff like that.
So Jamie, can you tell us how much you might have paid for these? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I'm in the Neapolitan for roughly $100, and then the other one I got for MSRP $120 in Hugo.
Okay.
But man, I'm telling you now, like I did the Byron's whiskey drop this last December, and I took both of these bottles up there. The Neapolitan, everybody wanted to try. Like it was. I mean, like we were trying George C. Stagg up there, trying several other bottles. Some high-end stuff, but everybody came back to the Neapolitan, so it's definitely one that's pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, it's unique. It's not something that you see a lot. Yeah. Like, you're not going to see Neapolitan finish. Like, a lot of times it's just, like, finished in tequila barrels, but it's like throwing, like, the name, like, Neapolitan. I already did it. I did it again.
Sucker, I did it again. Sucker. Popping that bottle.
Getting my bottle pops in there. No, yeah, we're pouring this other Good Times, which actually smells great. I mean, the nose is getting like some honey on it. You don't really smell the tequila. Getting a little of the pineapple.
Yeah, I get like sour pineapple.
See, the Casa Noble, you can smell the tequila, but when you drink it, you're not really noticing the tequila as much on the finish. It's almost kind of reminds me of the Blood Oath when I drink the Casa Noble.
I'm not getting the honey. I'm getting like a sour pineapple note. What are you getting, Jamie?
Yeah, no, I'm getting the same, Cody. I'm getting on this one more of a sour pineapple, but it very sweet smelling compared to the Neapolitan. The Neapolitan, I get a little more ethanol, whereas this one I'm not getting as much.
It does seem to drink a little below its belt here.
Yep.
Which is always kind of a dangerous thing whenever I'm drinking whiskey. Like that freaking Iron Root pick that's 139 proof. That one's dangerous, man, because I can just sit there and drink it like it's nothing. It's like,
Aegir
creme brulee, really good.
Which we still haven't done a side by side. We need to make that video.
Aegir, yeah. Which we actually got all those samples from Iron Root at the Whiskey Festival. Yeah, they hooked us up at the Whiskey Festival. Yeah, shout out to Iron Root for being awesome.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that probably maybe later on or in our next episode.
So. Yeah, we can do that for sure. So I have some questions for Jamie.
Oh, snap.
So the first question is, where did you come up with the name Aegir's Lounge?
Yeah, so we actually opened the whiskey lounge. There was 3 of us, and my one of my buddies, he was one of the owners, and he actually came up with a name. But coming up with a business name is not easy. We came up with about 100 names and went through a long, tedious process of scratching off about 99 names that everyone hated.
You didn't just rock, paper, scissors for it?
I wish we would have. But apparently that's a Nordic name. So
I got 99 names and Aegir's ain't one.
But it was one. It was the one ring to rule them all.
So it's actually a Nordic name, and what people don't realize, we let people call it whatever. The easiest pronunciation of it is Aegir with the G. Obviously you hear the G in it, but the G is actually silent. It's actually Irish. Yeah. Not many people know that, but
Aegir's Lounge.
Yeah, Aegir's Lounge. But
I don't know. I kind of like Aegir's.
Yeah,
Aegir,
I mean, call it Aegir's, call it the Whiskey Lounge, call it whatever you want. I mean, obviously we're there to support our community and have a good time, but if you actually Google it, you'll see a Nordic god that is barley and buff. He looks just like me. If you Google it, you'll see him, and you'll be like, oh damn. So anyways.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm trying some of that mezcal. I'm getting a little bit of the like pineapple tequila, but it's super subtle. It actually is really well balanced, this bottle. I don't know. I like the Neapolitan. I really want a bottle of that now, but it is pretty good. I actually am very impressed. Obviously 122 proof. What is the proof on that one?
113.
113. Yeah. So, we like our proof, but I think it's a good bottle.
Sorry.
So, and if you haven't, just going back to Jamie's talking about, his bar and the name, which, I always could not spell. I'm like, I don't know how to spell it, but it's a good bar. It's on 2nd Street. Go down there and check it out. If you haven't been and you're in the Durant area, please stop by and check it out. We're all about supporting local businesses. This is something that you're going to see more from us, highlighting a little bit different than what we did in season 1. And again, we've got some awesome distilleries coming up, but so we're really excited to have Jamie, and I've known Jamie for a long time. We used to work together back in the day, and he's been a good friend, and I'm excited to continue to grow our friendship. And he has a bunch of great bottles, so I hope to drink a lot of his whiskey. I'm just joking.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah. So
Mr. Closet Full of Whiskey.
Yeah.
I just want, just real quick, in Norse mythology, Aegir is a giant god of the sea, personifying the power of the ocean, and is often portrayed as a gracious host who throws magnificent feasts for the gods.
That's awesome.
So you're not supplying feasts, but you're supplying whiskey, which is essentially kind of the same
it's a
thing.
feast. You're having a feast with whiskey.
And hey, I mean, this guy does kind of look like looks like Jamie, I guess.
I can see it.
Dude, you got to grow out your hair a little bit.
And a 6-pack.
There you go. Right there. Boom. Yeah. Goals. Hashtag goals.
He kind of looks like Thor. Like if you put Jamie and Thor and they had a baby, that's what that guy would be.
It's kind of like Fergie and Jesus had a baby. Songbird of our generation.
Who's the water guy?
Water boy?
No,
Poseidon.
not water boy.
Poseidon.
Yeah. That's what, I don't know. It reminds me of Poseidon.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it kind of is like, because Poseidon is like Greek, so I guess Aegir is like the Norse version of that. So, all right, go ahead, Cody. Did you have a question you were about to ask before I rudely interrupted you?
Yeah, we're going to kind of dive in. I wanted to kind of talk through what inspired you to start a whiskey lounge, and I'm very thankful that you have done that. So I was curious to how that inspired you to go ahead and move forward with that.
Yeah, so Cody, here in Durant, obviously we have a lot of dive bars here in Durant, and every one of them has Maker's Mark, and nothing against Maker's Mark. I love some of the Maker Mark picks and whatnot.
Need more cast strength Maker's Mark out
yes,
there.
Amen. But I will tell you, we were actually part of me and my brother were part of Leadership Durant, and we went up to Washington, D.C. While we were up there, me and him swung over to Georgetown, and there was a whiskey lounge there that we stopped by. I kid you not, we were wearing like slacks and a polo shirt, and we walk in and like we're the most underdressed people there. Everyone's wearing suit and ties. Obviously it's Georgetown, but we get up there having a good time. There was 3 or 4 of us that day, and we're in this little bitty whiskey lounge that holds maybe 16, 20 people, but you're just there having a good time, socializing, drinking, having a good time. Like when we were up there, that spoke to me, and you just be able to collaborate and the camaraderie of it. And
Collaborate and listen.
Yeah. So anyways, we got back to Durant, and it was probably 2 years after the fact that we, like the building came open. Tony with Roma's over here on First Street. He owns the building, and it came open for lease, and we ended up jumping on it the second I seen it. Our original idea was to open a rooftop lounge as well. We're not quite there yet, but I know a lot of people have talked about it, and we would love to open the rooftop. Tony's a big factor of that, getting him involved with it as well. It's his building, obviously. But our goal was to open a whiskey lounge, see how it did. Our little area is a little challenging compared to like you go down to Dallas or Oklahoma City or Tulsa. I mean, you can get some high-end allocated whiskeys pretty easy because you're going through volume, where here in Durant, like again, you go to every other bar and it's a dive bar, right? So we run into our own challenges, but that's kind of what intrigued me opening it. And, like I said, I got a couple business partners who backed it, and we all dived in. So good times.
Let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll. So Jamie, so I don't know if you heard or I told you, but we set up an interview with Greg Upchurch, right?
Okay.
And Greg Upchurch as well,
yeah.
obviously. So me and Jamie are from the same town. We're both from Kingston, Oklahoma.
Yep.
And Greg is from Greg's from Kingston, Oklahoma. So I'd like to talk a little bit about growing up in Kingston, Oklahoma. Is that where you were your whole life?
Yep. So I was actually born in Medill, raised in Kingston. I didn't get very far, 27 miles, man.
Yeah, and then to Durant. Yeah.
Yep.
Been around the world. So what was it like growing up in a small town of Kingston, Oklahoma?
Yeah, no, I mean, growing up there, I mean, obviously it's a small town, so everybody knows everybody, right? Like,
yeah.
The cool thing about it was, I mean, hell, you could ride your bike, till 10 o'clock at night. You didn't have to worry about, like, I won't even let my kids ride their bike in our town. But
it is kind of interesting how that dynamic is these days. We're just out playing in the fields and out in the woods and stuff. And now it's just like, man, you just can't, like I saw that news story of those two young girls who, were on the railroad track. Yeah, it's very sad, but it's just like, that's the kind of stuff you have to deal with these days. And it's kind of wild. Yeah,
I mean, for sure. I know, like, us growing up as kids, we were doing all the stuff that you probably shouldn't do. I mean, fireworks, bikes, like doing everything that you shouldn't do as far as like putting the little explosive fireworks in the crawdad holes and just all the stuff, right?
Yeah, those crawdads, man.
Yeah. But, I mean, like I said, we didn't lock our doors back in the time. Like I say, back in the day, it was, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, and I feel like we got to live life to the fullest to an extent, because I know our kids won't even get to experience some of the stuff that we did. But growing up in a small town was unique, there was perks, there was pros and cons. Obviously the pros, I mean, everybody knows everybody. Your best friends are always close by. You could go to the lake. It was Lake Town, but the cons too of that is
everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, the cons is everybody knows everybody, and if you're doing anything bad, like everyone knows your mom, and they're calling you. You're getting blown up on the.
They're like calling in the middle of the class, like, "Hey, well, and my aunt was the principal when I was going through school, so of course that made it really interesting. Like, I just hit a button, and I'll get your aunt down here."
I have important. Would you try that in a small town, Jamie?
No. But man, anyways, the lake town was always great. We always had a good time going out to the lake. But I mean, obviously, even in our town, like there was a couple liquor stores. Like growing up, our family wasn't big into alcohol, whiskey, none of that. So I mean, that was something that's kind of came on me as I've aged, and me and my brother got into whiskey pretty heavy there. And so anyways,
well, that first year you just want to try everything, and that's kind of where I'm on the coming down phase, where I'm not buying everything. I'm like, okay, I want to try that. I'm not paying, over, secondary for Stag anymore.
Man, that is the toughest battle, because there's thousands of bottles, and you think you need, it's like Cody mentions, it's like Pokemon.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, you gotta catch them all. But you will literally drive yourself crazy trying to try every one of them, trying to see what's out there and trying them all. I just suggest getting whatever. I mean, obviously, try stuff, whether it's with friends at a whiskey lounge, wherever. Try it before you buy it. There's been plenty of times that I bought a $200 bottle and I got home and I cracked that sucker, and
you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's not for me. And I'm not saying it's a bad bottle. It's just it's something that maybe I didn't care for that much, where I could have spent that elsewhere. So that bourbon journey is definitely something interesting.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a couple of good points. And just because we like something doesn't mean you're going to like something, you know. And we want our listeners and audience to hopefully gravitate towards our picks and trust, kind of trust our palate. But you may not like. We may recommend something and you may not like it. Everyone's palate's a little bit different. Everyone gets a little bit different flavor notes. I think Jamie and I are pretty aligned on a lot of different things, but there's bottles he likes and there's bottles that I don't like. So I think that's a really key point that I just want to hone in sometimes, because I think people get really upset. Like the Bourbon Junkies had said something about a bottle and we got it. And I was like, it's okay. And he said the cellar age, I think 2024 wasn't that good.
Yeah, they were talking crap on the cellar age.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, that stuff's so good.
As soon as I'd sipped that, honestly, I was like, I love this bottle.
I don't think I have anything in common with the Bourbon Junkies. They everything that they say is great. I'm like, it's okay. And everything they said is bad. I'm like, dude, this is really good. So that's the thing about, like, you can't trust, YouTubers and stuff all the time. Like, yeah, for sure. A lot of them, and like YouTubers like Bruzel, I feel like he just likes everything. Yeah. But he's also like tried everything, and he has thousands of bottles in his house.
Yeah, and your palate changes too. I mean, think about when you started your journey, and you're still pretty new, but you're kind of like an adult baby, right? You've kind of just you went through like all 5 phases of the bourbon journey in like a year.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus. I ain't even said a word yet.
But and
I'm coming around to Rise and stuff, which I wasn't a huge on.
Do you know how happy that makes me?
Very.
Like, my heart.
I will say there are some things I didn't like at the beginning that I still don't really like. I've
been praying for you for so long.
I'm sorry, guys. If you guys are fans of the Old Forester 1920, it's just not it, man. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I still think it's a decent bottle.
It's decent, but it's not the best.
That it is not as good as it used to be, which I don't know what's going on there, but batch variation or whatever.
Yeah, we actually had a TikTok where I was ranking the bottles or whatever, and it got like 15,000 views or whatever. I was like, wow, like the stupidest thing ever. But one of the comments a couple of the comments were like, oh, you ranked 1920 super low. And I'm like, did I though? Did I?
Anyways, but I have another question for Jamie. I wanted to ask you, I think I've been pretty consistent with this question. Why do you love bourbon?
So the best reason to love bourbon is to be able to socialize with friends and family.
Exactly.
Like,
amen, brother.
I will tell you now, it's not very fun when you have a closet full of whiskey and you're drinking it by yourself. When friends come over, you're having a good time. Like, I'm not saying like you get that perfect bourbon, like a George T. Stagg or something. You may want to sip on that by yourself, but most of the time when you're drinking bourbon, you want friends and family there with you trying this stuff. I mean, it's a lot more fun if you have a group with you. So
I couldn't agree more, buddy. I had a tear fall down my face. I wish we're getting so close to video casting this. So, great. So, kind of wanted to dive into. Did you have another question you wanted to ask? I know you got.
I've got lots of questions. But yeah. I mean, what do you have?
I was just going to kind of dive into like some of his favorite allocated and non-allocated bottles.
Yeah,
just kind of give the audience a few. I think it tells a little bit about you and what you're digging. So.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked, Cody. So my favorite allocated bottle, and honestly, this is Mr. Colonel Taylor is probably my number one go-to, and it's even the small batch. Like, it's always consistent. It's smooth. I will sip on that as a daily sipper at the house.
The small batch?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Which, don't get me wrong, I love their E.H. Taylor rye. The single barrels are phenomenal. But the barrel proofs, everybody always hunting the barrel proofs. But I will tell you now, like, E.H. Taylor is a good product. I also like Stagg Junior. I think Stagg puts out a great product.
Okay, non-Buffalo Trace.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just
kidding. So you go non-Buffalo Trace, then you're.
Buffalo Trace is consistent. I think that's what everyone appreciates. Is Stagg's always good. E.H. Taylor's always good.
Yeah,
Eagle Rare's always good.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Like, if you're going outside of that, Michter's, I think Michter's puts out a great product. That Michter's 10-year rye, phenomenal.
Dude, the 10-year bourbon is amazing.
I finally got a bottle. I haven't cracked it yet, so I do want to try it.
Do it. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Let me come over when you do.
So I like the 10-year rye, but actually that Bourbon Nerds rye that we got, I actually side by side, and I preferred that one.
Okay.
Like, so the 10-year rye is really good.
For sure.
It's crazy how good you tried that.
Yeah, I did.
What'd you think about it?
Dude, the hug on it, man. It doesn't stop giving.
I'm just like obsessed with that bottle. I don't know. I wish I'd have got like a case of them.
Dude, I agree. I bought an extra one for Jamie because he wasn't able to make the blendery, but we've got to go back and Operation Bourbon Nerds it up again. But we'll do another blendery. Like one, they want to be on the podcast, so yay. That would be awesome. I'd love to have them.
They had a cool setup. He was like, yeah, man, we'll just sit on these couches and we'll hang out. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And there was a few people that didn't get to make it. Ty didn't get to make it. Jamie didn't get to make it. And by God, I'd love that. I had a great experience. If you're sleeping on the blendery, which a lot of people are starting to kind of wise up to it, highly recommend. The experience is phenomenal. They know what they're talking about and they're making some damn good whiskey.
Yeah. Well, they don't make it, but
they're rebarreling it. Whatever they're doing, they're not just taking MGP off of the they're sourcing it from MGP. But they're
not everything either. They're getting that. I think they had that turkey that was made by Buffalo Trace, which seems like everybody's releasing that this year. It's like the flavor of the month this month. I don't know. Because you got the OKI and you had which Specs had some, and then Bethany had some, and Paul sent me he sent me a picture. I guess he got the Specs and I'm like, dude is spending a lot of money on those OKI 16-year picks.
But I haven't got to try any. I do want to try one, but I've seen them out there floating around.
We tried a couple at Theron's house. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're $400 or $300. What was it? It was $400. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're really good.
Yeah,
but $400 is steep. You know.
Well, and I feel like for you can get the Thomas Handy, the BTAC Thomas Handy for what, $450 secondary.
Yeah.
I mean,
did you say my favorite rye?
Listen, unless you're Garrett and you find it at one of our local liquor stores.
I almost knocked glasses over that. I almost got real bad.
No, and it really, so it sucks because, so really funny story real quick. I get the Russell's 15 from the Antler store. She sells it. I get the Thomas H. Handy from Discount. She sells it. So I'm going to anytime I see those kinds, I'm like, well, obviously I'm going to buy them, but
you need to stop buying them.
When I find them, they're just going to sell them. So it's like, well, at least I got something cool from them before they just sold it to whoever.
Yeah.
Which I've been following the new owners at Antlers, and they still post like Buffalo Trace and stuff, but they haven't posted anything super cool. So I'm thinking about reaching out to them. Maybe we'll stop by there on the way to Hochtown this upcoming weekend. And
then I know Big Daddy's just purchased Discount Liquor too as well. So
tell him to share the wealth.
Yeah, share the wealth. Well, I think we're going to get him on the podcast. So we got to follow back up with him. So.
Listen, I'm just curious. How do y'all plan on evolving with it? I keep seeing the bubble has burst with the whiskey, and I'm thankful in ways because obviously it's making some of the product lesser, like a lower cost, easier to source for people, right? But at the same time, I keep in the same aspect, us having a whiskey lounge, I see people, the next trend is going to be, is it tequila? Yeah. I believe that's going to be the next trend coming up. So I'm curious to see if some of these tequilas that are coming up are going to be like more barrel aged in whiskey barrels, or if it's going to be like a short trend, or what that looks like.
I think that's what Añejo and Reposado barrels or tequilas kind of are. They're finished a lot of them are finished in the bourbon barrels. From what I've gathered, I'm not super into tequila, but I have started collecting some tequilas. Shout out to Suerte. Suerte is great. I don't know if have you
Why
tried.
Are you swearing at me right now?
Suerte. But actually, Apollo has a pick. I need to go pick that up because it's actually a little bit higher, and I think it's a Reposado. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to go check. It's either Reposado or Añejo.
So two things to Jamie's question. Number one, I welcome a decline in bourbon, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, if I can go into a store one day and find a George T. Stagg, I'm going to be very happy.
That's never going to happen.
No,
you can have a decline, but you're never going to see the B-Tax and you're never going to see the Pappies.
But
unless you're just randomly at Discount Liquor at Durant, Oklahoma at a random time.
But the second part of that, we have seen secondary prices starting to cool off. If those continue to cool off, you're not going to see flippers. If tequila is the biggest thing since sliced bread, then a lot of those flippers will start redirecting to that, which will open up the market. I know that we've gotten more bottles that I hadn't been able to get in the 5 years that I've been collecting over the last 6 months to a year.
Yeah, but it's not the secondary is cooling off, but also the MSRP on some things are going up. So like your Eagle Rares and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
What was it a total on? Was it
$53 with tax.
$53?
Yeah.
It used to be 42 or 46 or whatever.
35. And then, well, first it was 35 when I started buying it.
Yeah.
It was before you started collecting. Yeah. Then it went to the 43 mark. Now it's in the $50 range.
And so Blanton's was like 66 or whatever. And now it's like 84. So all these things are going up MSRP wise where it almost has to go down on secondary because people are starting to get to the point where they don't even really want to like, I don't even really go for Blanton's anymore. I've seen it plenty of times. I'm like, I just don't want it. You know, it's not worth $84 to me.
So then my second point was we are not going to be a one-trick pony. I think we are called the Bourbon Nerds. We love bourbon, and I've had great tequila, but you give me a good bottle of bourbon or a rye, I'm sorry, it'll smoke that tequila. It's 6 ways from Sunday. And Garrett and I's plan is not just to always talk about bourbon. We did an Irish whiskey episode. I got some positive feedback on that. If you haven't got to check out that St. Patty's Day episode, please check it out. That was more of a fun thing. Wasn't as formal and scripted or anything like that. Was very free flowing, learn as we go kind of a podcast. But, we're going to highlight breweries making beer. We're going to talk about tequila. We're going to talk about scotch. Bourbon is going to be our bread and butter, but we want to be diversified and we want to bring you other things that you may enjoy in life. Yeah, and that's what this podcast is about.
I've actually bought a couple other things like I have some rums. I have tequilas. I have brandy. I have all this different stuff. So like, I want to branch out and try other things. The problem I'm having is the 80 proof point. I need some higher proof stuff for the other, which I know they exist, and,
like that brandy we tried at Iron
Oh
Room.
man.
Dude,
straight out of the barrel,
proof.
though, it's hard to beat that. It was 120
That was
proof
one of the
brandy.
most yummy things
insane.
I've ever tasted in my life. But thank you. Shout out to Robert and the Licorice family.
Yes. 100%.
So, but I don't know. I forgot what my point was. I don't know. I was going to say something
What is the point?
Profound.
Why is the rum gone?
Oh yeah. I was going to say I have a confession to make. I love rum. I absolutely do love it. Yes. Foursquare is my favorite rum distillery. And if you haven't had any of their products, I highly recommend their 14-year regular release is super delicious. It is a little bit higher than the 12-year, but I don't know what magic happens in that 2-year. And they're limited releases. You can find them at certain specs. I just picked up the 2011 limited release. I'm going to start slowly picking those up. I want to have all of them. If you haven't seen, I'll re-release. I came out. I drank some with my buddy Finn in Barbados. He has all the limited releases. I ranked and provided tasting notes and palate notes. And I don't know. I think you saw it as well. So I'll repost that, and you can get an idea. Maybe one of those that might tickle your fancy. They are a little pricey, but I promise you, they are. I don't want to say BTAC, but they are like the BTAC of rums. I'm going to go on the record and say that.
Maybe
the barrel, the process. I mean, the sugar cane, the quality. I mean, it's just like they're doing some amazing stuff.
I just wish I wasn't. Every single rum I've had, I get a plastic note. And I don't know what it is that's in rum that gives me that plastic note, but it's I like rum, but it's still kind of annoying.
It's it's that coconut banana little. I know what you're talking about. It's a twang that you kind of get that you can kind of. It almost get like an artificial plastic, but I don't get that as much in theirs. Like they have a very distinct note.
I got it from the Dorleys, and that's made by.
Yeah,
them, right?
Yeah, but that was a fresh crack. I don't typically get it in the Foursquare products, but I know what you're talking about because I've tried Mount Gay. Barbados is like one of the kings of rums. El Dorado is a good rum. Zacapa 23 is one of that I really like sipping on too as well. If you haven't tried that, so there's a lot of good rums out there. Don't sleep on rums. Again, we are the bourbon nerds, not the rum nerds, but there's some good rums. Do you, Jamie? Do you like any rums?
So growing
Why
up,
is the rum gone?
Listen, we always drank Captain Morgan back in the college days.
I was all about Captain Morgan and pineapple. That was my stuff.
Yep. Like rum drinks.
I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Stop the channel. Stop the episode right now. I'm just joking.
But listen, sadly, I have not been able to try some of these delicious rums that you've mentioned, and I can't wait. I look forward to it. So the question I have for you, Cody, though, is how often? You're out at is it Barbados? All the freaking time. Like, how's that life treating you out there? I always see these pictures of you on the beach.
It's so
drinking
horrible, man.
rum. I know.
So horrible.
Like, what kind of life is that?
It's really bad. If you ever get a chance to, don't go to Barbados. No, Barbados is one of the most beautiful places on the earth. And I had the opportunity in my life to live there for a couple of years, and that was one of the most unique experiences of my life. Definitely, things that weren't perfect, but just having the ability to experience that, challenge myself to get outside of my comfort zone. I like Jamie and Garrett. We come from a small town as well. We're small town folks
Try
here.
that in a small town.
Yeah. You boys out there? No, but back to that. No, but Barbados is gorgeous. I highly recommend. If any of our listeners out there, you want to make a trip out to Barbados, hit me up. I will plan the trip of a lifetime for you. I know that island like the back of my hand. And I hope you'll enjoy it, and I hope you get the opportunity to want to go and see how beautiful that place is. The people are amazing. There's so many great restaurants and food to eat. So, and they're making some amazing rum. So
I really want to like it, but I'm just getting plastic. I don't know why. It's so frustrating.
I think you have a disease or something, because I don't get plastic in those at all.
So one of my supervisors back when I was just a dealer at Choctaw, he got bit by a mosquito, and then he got an allergy to meat, which was really weird. So maybe I got something like that, and it's just now I'm allergic to
the
rum.
Rum disease, man.
Rum disease, yeah.
Old rum ball.
You know what I am excited for though is this Willet purple top that Jamie brought.
Are we changing over to the purple top over here?
I don't know. You guys need to finish what
Jamie,
you got.
why don't you
there.
tell us? I want to hear the story about this Byron's pick that you have right in front of us.
Yeah.
So Cody, this Byron's pick, it is a 123.4 proof. It's from barrel number 1119. It was only aged for 5 years. It is a Byron's Liquor Select. They had 219 bottles there. I got bottle number 9. I have yet to try it. I just opened it for the
Bottle
podcast.
number 9.
Yeah, just popped it for the podcast here.
And when we were doing the purple top, because I think a lot of them are numbered till 200 or whatever, I'm just like, I had my fingers. I was like, "Come on, let me just get 69. Let me get 69, or some kind of bottle like that."
What a pervert!
Yeah, I think mine was a pretty low one though. I don't remember. I have to look it up and see, but I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, no. So I will tell you that the great thing about the 5 years is, the MSRP on this was I think 130, 120, 130.
They're a lot more affordable when they're a less age for sure.
Yep.
Willet's very proud of their stuff, but they do make pretty good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just going to chime in. If you haven't had the chance to try a purple top Willet, I've not had a bad one. I don't know if they exist, but they're some of the best, I think, products on the market. Yes, they're very pricey, but I think sometimes you got to think about this. I'm going to give you a different perspective real quick, and I'm going to go down a different road here. But you're spending $50, $60 to $100 on a bottle, okay? Sometimes those bottles are mediocre or just the same old things that you've had. You want in your whiskey collection, you want a couple special bottles, and I think Purple Top is a perfect bottle for a special occasion to bring out when you've got a special occasion, whether it's your anniversary, you get a promotion. I think it's really one of those good bottles, and I've been very impressed with the overall just quality of these bottles. I have a pick, which I'm very happy about, from Someone Say Whiskey. He has a Byron's pick that I'm about to try right now. So I do recommend. It is pricey. If you can find them at a decent price point, pick them up and thank me later.
So mine was number 100. That's why I was like, oh yeah, I got the number 100. That's cool. I wanted 106 because 10/6 is my anniversary, or 69 because giggity. You have what? 109. Yeah, because you were saying that you thought it might be 106. So like, oh, we can trade. That's cool. But yeah, it was 100 out of 152, which ours was Someone Say Whiskey pick, and it was 11 years, 101 proof, which was really low for what Willet kind of has. So it was pretty interesting. It was kind of a unique thing.
Well, listen, as Cody mentioned, it needs to be for a special occasion. The special occasion was for today, for the podcast.
I am honored that you brought that bottle to share with us. So thank you so much. And then, you gave us a gift as well, which you didn't have to do. And also before
one on me.
Before we get too crazy and bourbon nerdy, I did want to thank you for your time today. I know you had a softball tournament. There's tons of stuff. We're all got stuff going on. So thank you for your time and coming on the podcast. And it's an honor to have you on.
Appreciate that, Cody. It's always a pleasure. I know I listen to a lot of y'all's podcasts. Keep up the great work, guys. I can't say it enough. Like,
Well, we appreciate the support.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you've said to me, "Hey, you guys need to do 3 episodes a week."
yeah.
That's really tough to do.
Listen, is it like more alcohol, right? Like,
Well, if we want to start making some money out of this podcast, we will make that happen. So support us, like, comment, subscribe, all the things that we need your support on. Everyone that is listening, share with a friend. Like, you know, and I've heard of a few people that have said, "Oh, I'm not a big bourbon person." You don't have to just be into bourbon to enjoy this podcast. Our buddy Theron, who's actually with us right now, so he's probably, I'm name dropping here, a good friend of the podcast and one of the most amazing people that I've met in my whiskey journey. So blessed to call him a friend. And you know, he said it's like when I'm listening to your guys' podcast, I feel like I'm just hanging out with you guys, and I'm like, that's exactly what we want to accomplish. We want you. And yeah, we know we're goofy and nerdy sometimes, but we want you to enjoy. This is entertaining. We want you to be entertained. We want you to learn something, and we want you to have fun. That's what this is all about. So, anyways,
I'm getting like a graham cracker nose from this. I don't know. It's pretty. I mean, it has the Willet.
I don't know if it's because you just said that, but yeah, it's almost like a Teddy Graham, like a light Teddy Graham, not the same Teddy Graham like from the blender.
This is a 5-year. What's the proof on it?
Honey Graham. Honey Graham.
Yeah.
Or graham cracker, but it's not really cinnamony though.
So it's a 5-year purple top, 123.4 proof. So pretty decent there. I know a lot of these end up being pretty high. Oh, you got number 9. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yum. Can I say how good this is? This is delicious. Holy cow. That is so good, dude.
Willet makes good. I mean, they're proud of their stuff, but their stuff is good. Like, so it's like one of those things. Yeah. Like he said, a special occasion bottle, you know, you're going to pay a little bit for it, but it's one that you're going to hold on to for a while and kind of enjoy it. And even at 5 years, man, this is good. The cool thing about Willet, which is similar to like Frey Ranch, is they make all their stuff on their, you know, at their place. And so, and that's why I really want to go check out Frey Ranch. And I think that's kind of similar to what Bullet's doing with their bottled and bond now, is they're making everything on property and kind of doing their own stuff. So I always appreciate those kind of places because, you know, it's MGP is good, but you can only get so much MGP and you're like, okay, whatever. So it's nice when places start doing kind of their own thing.
Yeah, talking about MGP, I feel like Penelope is coming out with all kinds of MGP product.
The cool thing about Penelope, though, is MGP bought Penelope. So then basically I feel like they kind of have, you know, free reign for whatever kind of they want. They can kind of get their best stuff. Like, and some of the most recent Penelope stuff is some of the best Penelope I've tried.
Yeah.
So.
And I think, so people, you know, get hung up on the Rios and some of the special releases, but I think some of their regular bottles are just really good. Like really good. Like I think they're becoming one of my newer favorite brands. And I haven't had everything, but like the Architect, some of the Toasted Barrel Selects that I've had. And I know you brought that Texas Pick for us, which I haven't had the Texas Pick. I don't believe. But they're making some good stuff.
Going back to Penelope though, I still feel like Rio and Havana are kind of gimmicky, right? I think if you did like a Penelope honey finish, I think that would be really good. I think if you did a Rio, Amberana finish, it'd be good. I think if you did a Rio or a Penelope maple, you know what I'm getting at. But then when you combine them, I think it's just too much going on. I feel like honey and Amberana is just too much. And so they're cool, and I know people really like them. I feel like, and I'm not, no disrespect to anybody, I feel like people who really enjoy them probably don't enjoy higher proof whiskey and probably don't enjoy, you know, the natural flavors you get from bourbon and stuff. But, and I don't know if Theron, do you enjoy those a little bit? Yeah. I don't know. It was really hard for me to finish my Rio bottle, and I had I think it was the batch 1, was it not? Or was it the batch 2?
No, it was batch 2.
Batch 2? Yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you, I think some of those, they're trying to be unique with their product and their lineup, but it is interesting. It pulls a special crowd for those products.
Well, and they're A+ for marketing. I mean, obviously, that's why they were bought out by MGP, because their marketing was insane.
That 9-year, I know the 10-year.
That 9-year was
for some
insane,
reason, the 10-year isn't as good. I don't know why.
It's also
because
a
it's
single barrel.
So yeah, but my 10-year it's still good. I like it, but that 9-year was popped. sugar cookies or
And I still have that. I still have half of that 9 year. That 9 year was
I still got quite a bit, 75%.
Definitely up there for one of my favorite bourbons of last year. It was really good.
Cool. Well, I think you just gave us a bunch of tater bottles, but did you talk about any regular bottles that you like that are kind of some go-tos that may be unique?
Yeah, maybe some more like, everyday kind of. You said E.H. Taylor is kind of an everyday thing, but maybe that's not something
for sure. Like I said, I'm sitting on about 200 or 300 bottles at the house. Not very many, but I'm telling you now, Woodford always puts out a great product. Earlier I had mentioned, what was Michter's. I think Michter's offers a pretty good array of product. Even past that, Bullet and Elijah Craig, they have some product depending on what you're looking for. Whether you're trying to mix a drink or you're trying to just sip on whiskey or sip on it with a block of ice in the summer or whatever.
Those barrel proofs are pretty easy to find. And like I was saying earlier, the Bullet Bottled and Bond is their own distillate now, and I actually really enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, that's actually really good juice. And what's the price point on that? $50, $55?
It was like 44.
Sure.
Yeah. So and it was like a 7-year Bottled and Bond. I actually am super impressed by this because I'd never really enjoyed Bullet like it was fine, but this one I was really impressed by.
Well, and I think for the bourbon nerds, I think going out and trying to hunt whiskey and getting the biggest bang for your buck, right, is a challenge. So, whenever you're able to get bottles for a very reasonable cost, it's always exciting. But to your point, like that OKI 16-year was anywhere from $350 to $400. I see it going for $500 on secondary, and I'm like, you could get some crazy BTAC bottles for some of that, that same cash flow, right? So for anyone listening, I would just highly suggest shopping around, finding what you like, talk with friends, family. Heck, reach out to Cody and Garrett. But definitely try out a lot of whiskey lounges.
I've definitely given a lot of samples to friends. Like, you have Ellie that works for you, right? And she owns she's one of the runners of the House of Crow. So Chris, who is also one of the owners, her husband, Justin. Do you know Justin? Have you met him? So I gifted him a bottle and I've gave him some samples and stuff. And then my boss, Tyler, I've gifted him, I have no problem gifting samples to people for people to try. Yeah. I just don't have a ton of people reaching out to me about it, but that's the beauty of the bourbon scene, right? It's about the community. It's about trying things because, you can't take it with you when you die. So, that it's there for the camaraderie. God, I can't say that word. Camaraderie. It's for that's the thing I love about this as bourbon is.
Do you need
the social
aspects? I still have my copy.
Camaraderie.
There you go. Camaraderie. Roads.
Listen, what was the place of good times? Cox's.
Cox Creek's Distillery and Company. Say that 6 times. Yeah.
Cox Creek's Distillery and Company. It's about the community. It's about the togetherness of it.
It is about the community, and we want to be a part of the community, and we appreciate the community. So let's move out of whiskey for a little bit, which is sad. I really want more of that purple top. If you're okay, Jamie, I'm just going to get a little sipperoo there. I just need to make sure it's as good as I thought it was. But I have 3 questions. We're going to speed this up a little bit, but I want to know your favorite movie, your favorite band, and your favorite TV show. So, and then tell us why those are your favorites.
Oh man, those are tough, Cody. Growing up, I watched all the Star Wars, all the Indiana Jones, all the stuff, right? But
you're gonna be excited for our Star Wars episode,
dude. I can't wait. May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
But listen, favorite movie is probably Endgame, Marvel. I love.
Really, that's your favorite movie of all time?
Yep.
Okay.
I love. I'm loving what Marvel has going on, and I love the fact that.
Do you like the post Endgame stuff?
Yeah, I don't know yet. Maybe it has, the whole multiverse thing is definitely interesting.
I'm excited for Doctor Doom personally.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Doctor Doom's my favorite character of all time.
But going back to I think Cody mentioned in a previous episode, Iron Man is one of his favorite characters. He does. Robert Downey Jr. does freaking awesome in some of those movies. And I mean, like, just going back to Marvel, they are killing it, tying the storylines together.
Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom is going to be interesting.
I know. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how that plays
there's
out.
still a possibility that he is a Tony Stark variant.
Yeah, it's an alter ego.
And so, like, maybe the Starks adopted him and just never told him, and one of his variants figured that out and was like, screw that, I'm going to become evil, you know? So
interesting.
There's a lot of interesting concepts that could go on with Secret Wars. So I'm really excited for Doomsday and Secret Wars, but
for sure,
we're still a year or two away from that.
Yeah, for sure. Favorite band, I'm going to go with probably Green Day. I grew up in the 90s, like I said earlier. You know, obviously I've listened to anything and everything from rap to country to pop rock to rock alternative. I mean, just pretty much anything. Growing up in Kingston, obviously, you know, like Greg Upchurch, I'm a big fan of his, but like I said, Green Day always stuck out to me, at a special spot in my heart.
I mean, the American Idiot album is debatably one of the best albums.
For sure.
I actually got asked at work the other day what the best album was, and man, it's really hard when you're asked that. It's like, are you being subjective or not? You know,
honestly, the to me, what sticks out on that is the drumming. The drums like is phenomenal on that title. Like, it's just crazy.
What's your favorite Green Day song?
I can't even. Right off. You're asking me right on the spot. There's too many. I don't. I mean, I probably don't have any one particular favorite one.
Brain Stew is really good.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Like I said,
Ends is good. I like that song.
Which one?
When September.
When September ends. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like several of them, but like to say just like one of them is probably more challenging. I like pretty much any of Green Day songs. For the so favorite movie. I've already said that.
Favorite show.
Yeah, my favorite show. When are you talking about like a musical show? Or are you talking about just like a TV show? Yeah. Oh yeah, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones kills it, man.
How do you feel about the last season of Game of Thrones?
Listen, you're gonna take me to a cliffhanger.
So I would argue up until the last season of Game of Thrones, it is amazing television.
Yep.
When you hit that last season, you're like, what the hell are they doing?
Listen, the first season, just don't have your kids in the same room as whatever TV.
Just don't get attached to any characters.
Don't get attached to characters. Like, the best way I can describe Game of Thrones, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, in dragons and
your favorite
boobies.
Thank you. I didn't know.
Yeah, dragons, naked people, and your favorite characters dying. That's Game of Thrones.
The South Park episode where they go and meet George R. R. Martin, and it's just like, wiener, 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 wiener.
We always joke about it being dragons and titties, man. Dragons and titties.
I mean, it is a great show, and there's amazing writing, and you can tell that last season. Apparently the whole story behind it is the writers wanted to go and they wanted to write a Star Wars trilogy, which ended up getting scrapped anyway. So then they go and rush this Game of Thrones season, and then they didn't even do their Star Wars trilogy. And so it'd be really cool, and I know it'll never happen, if they could just go and redo the last season. But, you know, just nothing on the last season makes sense, and it really sucks because, and honestly, a lot of shows have trouble ending their show. That's usually the downfall.
Sopranos was very controversial.
Well, Dexter or How I Met Your Mother.
Sopranos was the one I was talking about being controversial.
And Sopranos to a point.
The season ending, it was
is.
The whole freaking United States was talking about it.
Well, it kind of leaves you up to interpretation, whereas Game of Thrones is like, oh, well, here's the ending. You're like, what? That sucks, bro. The one-eyed Raven was like, he was saying the whole time he can't be king. He's like, well, what do you think I came all this way for? Screw you, buddy. We know that's bull.
Yep.
Beep.
Listen, if you're going favorite musical, Alexander Hamilton.
Really, the Hamilton musical?
Yeah,
okay.
Hamilton musical. All During COVID, everyone was stuck at home. It was like the biggest thing out there. We watched it, I guarantee you, 1,000 times because my wife and kids.
I actually really enjoy the Greatest Showman. Was really fun.
Yep.
And then Sweeney Todd. I love Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, Sweeney Todd. But Greatest Showman probably my favorite.
This is the greatest. So the Greatest Showman would have been better if there wasn't that whole. I understand they were trying to base it off of real life, but the whole middle part where they had the opera singer that he kind of went around with. It kind of slowed the movie down a little bit, but the songs for that movie are great.
Listen, I just want y'all to know I can't throw away my shot.
Okay, do it.
That's an Alexander Hamilton.
Do it. Don't ever throw away your shot. Drink it.
Well, and you came from band, like we came from band,
yeah,
so
for sure.
like I understand the music guys, and I asked Cody if we could do a musical, and I wasn't sure if he was as huge of a fan of musicals as I was, so I wasn't really sure.
I'm not on your level, but I do enjoy a good musical, and I think we could make a whole podcast and do a musical. I think that would be fun, where we have to sing
Talk
everything.
about like Chicago and
snap.
there's a lot of good musicals out there.
For sure. And we have to sing the whole podcast. I think that would be pretty, I don't know,
Team
probably be
America
pretty
World
annoying,
Police.
but we could sing America. Yeah. Gonna save the freaking day. Yeah, America. Sorry, we're probably gonna get pit. We're probably gonna get
Everyone has
terrorists.
AIDS.
No, come on. Let's cut that from there. You're gonna
Don't cut that at
You're gonna
all.
offend some people over here. Let's be nice.
No, if you've seen
I've
Team America World
it's Team
Police, you'll
America.
be fine.
That's a quote from Team America movie, South Park creators. So I'm just
Dude, they make some great stuff though. Like they did Team America, then they did the Book of Mormon, which actually took off hardcore on Broadway.
that was huge in Broadway. Yeah, for sure. No, they're
Those
brilliant.
guys are great.
Those guys are brilliant.
They're
Like
still
they
making
just
fun
are.
of everyone. Like
Yeah, and
they
they do it in such through a kid's view and make it so unique, and it's like that's pretty accurate. Like even that episode where they're talking about people don't read the like rights and stuff, like the user agreements.
Oh,
why won't you read?
Why won't you read? Yeah, the human centipede.
yes.
Dude, I love that.
That's such a good. I mean, that's true. Nobody reads those things. It's like I just signed my life away. No big deal. I accept it. So
There's still like the acceptable like animation out there where like just nobody.
Game of Thrones is the best show
Everybody
ever.
just kind of leaves them alone.
It's not even debatable.
What?
Not
Well,
even
okay,
debatable.
hang on. Did you just say the great Game of Thrones is the greatest show ever?
Yes.
I second that.
Yes. Jamie and I are on the same side. Darren, what do you think? You agree?
Great. I don't know if it's
All right. I don't know. Well, we're gonna have that debate.
I would argue that
next time on Bourbon Nerd Z.
Breaking Bad has the best start to finish of any show. Now, it's not my favorite.
That's my number 2.
Listen, I will tell you.
Detective season 1 was an amazing.
Exactly. True
right.
Detective season
Brothers.
1 is the greatest television series ever.
With Game of Thrones, I will tell you, it is crazy. The first 3 seasons, like everything is slow rolled and slow played out. So like to get from
Yeah, until they chop
King's
off Ned
Landing
Stark's head.
to the north, like it takes like 3 or 4 episodes, where like you get to the 5th or 6th episode or 5th or 6th season, and it takes like a half an episode to get that same travel.
Yeah, but if we're going to talk about little short seasons, Band of Brothers miniseries is the greatest television ever to
True Detective
face.
season 1.
It's better than True Detective
No,
season
it's
1.
not.
I'll watch it right now.
No, it's
and
not.
prove you wrong.
I've seen both of them. I
have seen it, and I
You'll
love
get the most
True
amazing
Detective season 1.
performances. That one track shot where he's taking the drug dealer.
You can't triple stamp a double
I think-
stamp.
oh,
You
I
can't triple stamp
I
a
can't
double
remember
stamp.
what episode it is. Alexandra Daddario. Enough said. Right?
We're gonna have to stop the podcast because Garrett and I are about to throw down.
Game of Thrones wins.
Game of Thrones.
Tell me, go watch that episode with Alexandra Daddario and tell me I'm wrong. Beats out any women from Game of Thrones.
Let's get this train back on tracks. Garrett, do you have any other serious questions you want to ask Jamie?
I do have one topic I want to bring up. It's NBA. I know y'all were talking about NCAA, but real quick before we jump into
God,
March Madness
if you
and everything.
ask me about LeBron
Listen,
James, I swear to God.
LeBron James.
I was just, I'm so excited about the Luka trade. Like, that is the best Dallas Maverick trade that I could ever see in my life. Like, what in the world is going on with that, right?
All right. If Jamie didn't share his purple top with me, I probably would have punched him in the face. Like, I'm gonna go on record.
Got him.
They would call the police. Like, Dallas Mavericks, you.
That was the greatest trade ever.
Hashtag destroy right now. I had a bad week, and you just making
Are you guys
it
ready
worse.
for the Vegas Mavericks?
They're not going to Vegas.
Listen, what is up with that trade? Like, come on. Like, growing up, I'm like Cody over here. Been in Durant, Oklahoma. We always went, always a Mavericks fan. Oklahoma City came after the fact, so I stayed true and loyal to the Mavericks. And we got to see Dirk go through his championship, and then we draft Luka, and you think, oh man, this is going to be the next All-Star, which he is a freaking All-Star and killing it. We're going to have him for the next 20 years, and bam.
Yeah. Rip my heart out. It's like literally they sold my firstborn child
To the Lakers.
of all the teams. They
With
could've-
LeBron James.
There's two teams that
Of
you could
all
have
freaking
that I didn't want you to
teams.
trade him to. It was the Spurs and the Lakers. I hate those teams more than anything in the NBA.
I like the Spurs.
I know you like Spurs. I don't like them.
Dude, Craig Popovich
Greg Popovich is one of the greatest coaches of all
just had
time,
a
and I
stroke,
respect
so-
him. I know.
So
well,
yeah, there's some respect on his name.
I do. I have never said anything bad about him. I think he's one of the greatest coaches ever, but I do not like the Spurs. Spurs have kept the Mavs from winning for years.
Yeah, because
it's
Tim
one of the
Duncan was a
greatest rivalries
freaking
in
goat,
the
man.
playoffs for a long time, even though you guys won way more titles than we did.
So you mentioned GOAT. LeBron James is up there
Michael
with
Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Shut the
like,
hell
come
up.
on,
Michael
man. You gotta
Jordan,
admit,
dude.
like, he just broke the 50,000 points.
LeBron
Like,
James isn't even better than Kobe. Get off me.
just kidding. I love Kobe. Kobe strong.
Honestly,
Michael Jordan strong.
honest to God, LeBron's not even in my top 5. So
I
Get
give it
outta
to
here
him
with
for
that.
sticking in with it. But
I can't agree with that. I understand where you're coming from, and your hate for LeBron James has gone too far. You have to put him in the top
LeBron
5.
flopping videos are great.
Yeah, but
It's kind of like the
it
Angel
is.
Reese like Bam videos.
I'm not disagreeing with. First off, Jordan's the greatest player to ever play the game. It's not even a debate. Secondly, I do think Kobe's better than LeBron.
He was a winner.
but I would put LeBron in the top 5. He's too good of a talent. He's one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen play sports, any sports ever. And yes, just because you play long and you're breaking records, I don't value that. What I value is the ability to have a long career and play at such a high level. You have to have some respect for that. But this isn't a LeBron James podcast. And Jamie, you're really freaking grinding the gears over here. Let's move on to
You also
happier
make some
thoughts.
interesting conversations happen. I like it.
It is. It's getting feisty in here. Did somebody turn on the heat? Because
I
it's
don't
getting
even
hot
have,
in here.
I don't even have my
He's on fire.
I don't even have my Fire Nico. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
You're
picking
gonna
it
get
up
it tomorrow.
tomorrow.
I want to try that. Like, I'm sad that
It's
I
a
didn't
really
buy one
funny.
of those.
It's a Fire Nico OKI 11 year.
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle Sharp.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Kyle Sharp makes the best Mexican elote. He's probably not even listening to this.
Yeah, that
I'll
was
send it to
great.
him.
It was
He needs
good
to listen.
elote.
Cody, I'll tell you, you can have another pour of that purple top. Everything will be okay.
All right. I forgive you.
Immediate forgiveness.
Well,
like
I
a
mean,
true sucker. No. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
we have a lot of other stuff we could talk about in sports. I think we should save that for probably the next episode. There's a lot going on. Obviously, NCAA tournament. If you haven't, I'm sure your bracket's already busted. But
McNeese, bro. McNeese.
McNeese, get
Didn't
on
pick
these
him in any of my
McNeeses.
brackets.
McNeese, Liam Neeson, McNeese's. So, all right. Do you have any other questions for Jamie?
I feel like I haven't asked him a lot of questions.
Well, that's why I'm giving you an opportunity to ask him questions. That's up to you, man.
So
What do you got?
what's the future for Aegir's Lounge?
That's a tough question, man. If you ask Tony, he wants us to buy the building. We buy the building. We want to do the rooftop. The tough part is we started out with 3 owners. We're down to 2. It's kind of bittersweet, but you pour your heart and soul into a place. You want to see the place succeed. Ultimately, for 6 months we went through the construction phase. I was up there every night. I've been in that building a lot more than a lot of people have, and you pour your heart and soul into something. You want it to be there for a long period of time. What I would like to see the place, whether I'm the owner, whether I'm not the owner, I don't know what that entails in the future, but I will tell you now, I want to see that place last 30, 40 years from now, and it be like a staple to our community.
So what is your vision for the rooftop exactly?
Yeah, so our thought process was we would, if we were able to get to the rooftop, we would have mix and stirs, and then like a margarita machine up there, and you could do some live music, some games up there. Obviously you'd have a couple bartenders, one up top, one downstairs, but keep the whiskey downstairs. We thought about having like a little elevator or whatnot to be able to make some mixed drinks or drinks downstairs, and instead of having to run them up and down the stairway, like
Is there an elevator already there? Is it
no, I like a drink elevator system.
Oh,
like,
I gotcha.
yeah. So, something to keep the runners from having to go up and down, up and down, up and down the stairs. But like you start taking into consideration of the building size, the capacity, and the insurance and liability and all the stuff. I mean, it is challenging. Not saying that it can't be done.
I mean, rooftop would be really cool. We went to Arkansas. I think it was Hot Springs. I don't know why that blanked me, but we went to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and one of the cooler places we went was a restaurant that was on the rooftop.
Yep.
And I don't know if like food or anything is like what you're thinking about, but I always thought that was really cool to kind of like see the whole landscape of Hot Springs, which Hot Springs is a beautiful place anyway, if you guys ever been there.
For sure. I'll tell you now, for every place that I've been, every whiskey lounge, every bar, any place you go to that has a rooftop, it elevates it to the next level, right? So you know, like we were at a place in Los Angeles and having a good time. They had a rooftop. I found out, went up top. I mean, like you're out in the air, you're looking at the sky, having a drink, but they usually have games, music. I mean, it takes it to the whole next level, man. It would actually double our square footage at our location if we were able to get the rooftop. But the idea of it would be, you know, obviously we'd be the first rooftop whiskey lounge in Durant. We're the only whiskey lounge, but we'd be the only rooftop in Durant as far as, you know, like I think Tony actually has the building that it's not open yet, but he has a balcony. But actually having a true rooftop to where you could have live music or whatever events up there, like it'd be fun. So
how does it work with your location? So is it just like stuff above you that's not getting used, or?
Yeah. So when Tony actually remodeled it, he had that building remodeled. I have some of the photos. It is crazy looking at the old building compared to what it is now, right? And it's gone through evolutions. But he actually put floor joists in the ceiling, so like it could actually have a second story if we wanted to build a second story up to on top of the rooftop. But
so right now it's just empty.
Yeah, it's just a standard roof right now. Like we would have to supply the decking and, you know, TVs, games, seating, all, you know, like any.
That'd be a sick place to watch games and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the sky's the limit up there. I mean, like we have so much potential with that. But I will tell you now, like I said, every rooftop bar I've ever been to, it's always taken it to the next level. So that was something that we wanted to capture early on.
And you can get some really nice looking views from Durant. So
yeah, and kind of going back to, you said watching games, like there's really not a good spot outside of the league in Choctaw. And I don't want to bash Choctaw because they're great people and supporters and all kinds of stuff.
I think some of their chefs are a little.
The league's food's not good. I'm just going to go on record and say that. So it is one of the most amazing places to watch a game. They have all the TVs and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that irks me is you have that bar in the middle. For whatever reason, their design that kind of separates. So you have to be on like one side or the other. And again, there's freaking huge, gigantic TVs. So it's still.
Well, and that's why I think that's why they put the TVs around the bar too. So
yeah, I understand that.
But I mean, I get it.
It kind of obstructs your view when you're, depending on where you're sitting. So you have to sit on one side or the other. And it's still an awesome place to watch a game. And we're very blessed to have something like that in our town or right outside of our town. But I would love the opportunity to support a place like yours. And yeah, I really hope you stay along. I know talking with you the last time we went on a whiskey run, you know, how passionate you are about that. I know it's a lot. You have to put your heart and soul into getting a place like that to work. And I have some really cool ideas, which I'm not going to talk about, I think, on this podcast. But before you leave, I wanted to share things I'd like to do in an event. And I had some good ideas that I think could also help your business and also, you know, help get people and do a meet and greet and do some whiskey tastings and stuff like that. So we can talk more about that.
Is there any like thought of like doing like wings or, you know, food or anything like kind of like that?
So we would love to. The square footage is challenging.
But I mean, if you do the rooftop thing,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. If we did the rooftop, there could certainly be ideas of food down the road. Currently, like I said, our square footage is 550, 600 square feet. Our capacity, I want to say, is 30. I don't remember right off top. We have the placard up, but of course we have the back patio too. But the great thing about whiskey is you only got to have 8 or 10 people in there, and it's a great vibe. You don't it's a good time in there. But you get the rooftop going, it doubles the capacity, it doubles the square footage. Like we could do food up top. We could do a lot of things with that. But we'll see. I mean, I've worked with Tony off and on, and Tony's a great guy to our community. They own the restaurant here. He owns several businesses, and I love Tony to death. He's also a great. I believe he has some high end whiskey and whiskey connoisseur, and I can't talk enough of greatness about Tony. Like he's been a great asset to our community.
Yeah, he's gonna get a huge head, but I do. He's one of my best friends. I love Tony. So, Tony, if you're listening, Tony Bag of Donuts, we love you, man. All right. So cool. Those are good questions. What else we got on the menu here? I'm trying to think if I ask you what bottle are you most excited to hunt in 2025?
Oh, that's a tough question.
And why is it not Jack 14?
Listen.
Case closed.
You're not wrong. Jack 14 is very exciting. I'm so glad that they're coming out with that bottle. However, one that I want to hunt and is it's a very high end allocated, very hard to find. Probably the is it OFC? It's a Buffalo Trace product, but the history of that building.
Oh, dude, the brand is so expensive, though.
Dude, it is crazy expensive. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Best packaging, marketing, but like
You can get that Macallan like 20s or
Dude,
30.
yeah.
What is that? What is the year on that Macallan? It's like it has the hands holding it and stuff. It's like 80.
Yeah.
It's like 80.
30 something, yeah.
It's
35 years or
insane.
40,
Yeah.
50 years, they go up there. And that's the crazy thing about Scotch. I mean, it goes up to like 80 or 100 years. I mean, I've seen some stuff that is crazy price range and age range. But the OSC, man, that the history of that building, man, it's crazy to me. Like, it was around Prohibition era. It was also around the 200 years ago. So I mean, like, getting to that, I'm glad that they revived that building and restored it. So.
Yeah, Bruzel was on a video recently, and he's like, "I'm going to buy it to give it away," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I wish I could just buy a $2,200 bottle and give it away. No big deal."
Hashtag making it.
No, and then one of the other things that was really interesting about his video is the guy was like, "Yeah, you buy that, I'll give you another bottle for a good deal." And he brought out like an Old Fitz 10, and he's like, "Yeah, it's only $3.99." And Bruce is like, "Bro, I'm about to spend $2,200. You can't even give me that for his MSRP." Yep. And he ended up getting Havana for like $120 or something. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take that Havana, whatever." But she's like, "Come on, dude,
That's
this guy's
Penelope product, man."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm going to spend $2,200. You can't even give me the freaking Fitzgerald 10 for MSRP, like whatever."
Yeah. Well, I wanted to give you a quick opportunity because you highlighted and touched on it a little bit, but why should our audience come down and visit Aegir's Lounge?
Yeah, no, I mean, Cody.
Aegir's Lounge, Cody.
Yeah, Aegir's
Lounge.
Listen, you call it whatever you want. Whiskey Lounge.
Get drunk enough to where it doesn't matter what it's called.
Aegir's?
Listen, we're not a dive bar. That's the biggest thing, right? We're a whiskey lounge with 200 bottles, like 200 variations. We got like 800 bottles in the building. But man, it's a good time, man. Again, we were trying to capture that Georgetown vibe. The thing with whiskey, you're there, you get 4, 6, 8 people there, you're having a good time, man. Like, you don't need a room full of people. You don't need a whole bunch of slosh, drunk kids, people, whatever. We live in a college town, and I get that, the dive bars have a special spot for people. You want to get sloshed on some beer, that's fine. But our goal was to create a vibe for the not the elder generation, but just for anyone who wants to really socialize and have a good time with some whiskey.
Yeah, because you have your beer and for certain things, and you have your whiskey and you have your other things, and there's a lot of different bars in Durant. But to specifically come there, you got your whiskey drinkers is what they should be coming there. They're.
Sounds like he's calling out the Red Barn a little bit. Like,
nobody cares about the Red Barn.
People do.
Nobody cares about the Red Barn.
That place is bad.
It is pretty surprising how many people go to the Red Barn.
I will tell you, we actually love any and every bar in Durant. We don't have any shade for any of our competition. We encourage nightlife. We want nightlife. We want city lights. We want people to be downtown and downtown to thrive. But I will tell you now, like, I mean, obviously, I think every place has its uniqueness, right? You know, we have the Office, you have Red Barn, you have several different dive bars, right?
Old Ice House.
Yeah, Old Ice House. I love Old Ice House.
I like going there because of the food.
They got food. They got great food.
That's the thing is like that's kind of what separates a lot of these places. Is food.
But our goal was, like I said, to capture when you're there at the Whiskey Lounge, you're having a good time, you're socializing, you're grabbing a few drinks, whether you're there for one drink or 5 drinks. I mean, we are a full mixed beverage bar. We sell anything and everything from mixed drinks to wine to beer to whiskey. But I mean, ultimately, when I first was going through the construction phase, we were just going to be a whiskey lounge, and that's it, nothing else. So we've evolved for the community. But I would say try. You know, if you're listening and you want to come down, have a good time. Like, we got some awesome bartenders. We have a great time up there.
Can you tell me a little bit about how your pricing goes into effect?
Yeah. So we have prices as low as $5 a pour all the way up to $100 a pour. Essentially, like it's challenging because with whiskey, it's all over the place. And what I mean, not only in the price value is all over the place, but being able to source the whiskey as well. So it's actually easier for me to just go personally buy whiskey in Texas personally than it is to buy whiskey for the Whiskey Lounge.
And why do you think that is? Like, why is that the case?
I think it's all, you know, I mean, obviously Oklahoma laws are a little different than Texas laws, but you know, I think it boils down to a couple of things. You got the distributors, you got lobbyists. There's a lot of money in the whiskey business and the alcohol business in general. And so, I mean, like, it goes back to me, just the older, you know, like Oklahoma's in the Bible Belt, right? And so because of that, I would say we're like 10 or 20 years behind the times compared to other places.
Yeah. If you watch our episode on Hochtown, Blue had a lot of really good points about Oklahoma alcohol laws and stuff, and he's really fighting a lot of that stuff.
It's challenging.
It is, yeah.
And the thing is like they want you to support the portfolios, and we do. We buy product from all of the distributors. We buy from all the brands. We try to support everything, but we're selling by the bottle. Like, we don't sell by the bottle, we sell by the pour, right? And so liquor stores, they have the advantage of buying bulk and then selling it by the bottle, where we're selling it by pour. The benefit of us is you get to try stuff before you go and spend $200 at the liquor store. So it's a win-win for all of the liquor community, whether it be Brown-Forman or any major distillery or company out there. Like, there's benefits of it all, but we run into our challenges of volume, right? And all the distributors want you to purchase volume in order to get allocated products. We've worked really hard over the past year and a half that we've been open to be able to get a top shelf and get a lot of high-end allocated product. You come into our Whiskey Lounge and we have, I mean, stuff that would nearly be impossible to get if you were in Durant, Oklahoma or Hugo, Oklahoma, depending on where you're at. Whereas if I would have, the crazy thing is, if I would have built this Whiskey Lounge across the Red River, I get my product from Specs. Like, I could just build a relationship with Specs and be like, hey.
Yeah, because Specs has a whole program where they'll hold stuff for
Grayson County.
For other people. Yeah.
Yep. So
we ran into that when we were hunting, and they're like, well, yeah, we have this, but it's for a bar
or a restaurant or whatever. Yep.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you build those relationships, and it's no different with distributors, with these companies. Like, it's people are people, right? Like, you talk to them enough, you buy enough from them, you support them enough, they want to support you too. But the challenge is real, like, for us too. Like I said, it's easier for us to buy personally than it is to buy for the Whiskey Lounge. So just know, when you come in there, like, our prices, we don't have food. We're only whiskey. Because of that, like, I mean, we try to hone in on the pricing. We're not always accurate. It's challenging. You got 200, 300 different variations of whiskey, and you're trying to be accurate on every bottle. Like, it's a lot. So just be patient. I would, come in, have a good time. But if you're price conscious, you can get drinks as low as $5, man. We like, you can get a Sazerac Old Fashioned for, I want to say $11. I mean, it's super, super affordable.
Yeah. I wanted to comment, you have done, cause and I'm going to be very transparent with you because I'm honest with my listeners and you're a good friend of mine, but I had a lot of gripe about your prices when you first open. And I understand learning, distributing, and you hit a really key point, I think, in what you're facing and what we face. And, you talked about the Blue McDaniel in Oklahoma. I would love for myself to be able to buy the whiskey in Oklahoma and get the tax. So Oklahoma gets the taxes, but I'm buying it in Texas because that's where I can get most of the bottles. And again, I consider myself a Texoma resident. I reside in Oklahoma, but I'm in Texas just as much almost as Oklahoma outside of sleeping, and stuff like that. So, I'm perfectly fine with supporting both states, and we want to highlight, everything to do with Oklahoma, Texas. That's going to be our bread and butter. But, it's so much more difficult for you to get bottles. It's so much more difficult for the distributors and how they control, and they're separated, and there's almost like a monopoly in it. So, we could have a whole podcast about that. We probably will soon enough, later down the road, and talk more about the Oklahoma laws and Oklahoma versus Texas and kind of doing some of the...
I'm sure we're going to do another episode with Blue, and he would just go off
that would be
about it.
awesome. Have Blue on, and
He's very passionate about it, all of it.
Absolutely. If
Fighting
you haven't
for
listened to that
everything.
episode, that's a really good interview. Guys pioneering the Oklahoma bourbon whiskey revolution. And then I wanted to make one more point to you, Jamie, because you said E.H. Taylor is one of your favorite. Their bottle and bond is very comparable to the E.H. Taylor small batch. So highly recommend if you haven't tried it. We needed to make a video and do a side by side. I know we have a bottle of that.
I think it'd be really fun to do a bottle and bond episode. Or like a video, like a blind, for sure.
Yeah, for sure of that. So awesome.
I mean,
Good
bottle
stuff.
bond's just good stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you know it that it's good quality.
Even this
stuff.
bullet ball and bond, it's really
Dude,
well
I really
balanced.
like this bullet
Dude,
bottle
it's
and bond.
really well balanced.
Yeah.
It's probably the best bullet product I've had in a long time.
Oh, for sure. Because I've never been impressed with bullet until this one.
Yeah,
so.
I grew up on some bullets, so
need to try
that was kind of
the-
my go-to back in the day.
I need to try the 12-year rye before I really make my, assessment on it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. You got any other questions?
No, I think I'm good right now.
I think it's time to move on to last call with the bourbon nerds. So last call, first I want to again highlight Aegir's. Did I say that right? Oh my God, I get a cookie.
You got it. You
said
got it,
right.
bro.
So Aegir's Bar in Durant, come check it out. Again, I'm going to be talking to Jamie. I'm hoping to maybe get an event in June that we can do there. So we'll stay tuned on that. And once I've confirmed some details and stuff and talk it over with Jamie, I'm sharing it first hot take right now. But last call, I did want to highlight our blendery experience. We had a couple, I wanted to save the whiskey ride if you're okay for the next episode.
Yeah, for sure.
But blendery, we had such a good experience. Also, too, again, we talk about Aegir's, and I just went last night to a cool bar in Denison. They don't have near the whiskey collection that Jamie's has at his place, but they do have some cool cocktails if you're in the Denison area. It's Cosmopolitan Cowboy. It's right across the street from 34 Chop House. There's a ton of construction going on, so it's a little challenging to get to, but it's a cool little spot. So whether you're in Durant, come by Aegir's, or, if you're in Denison, come down to Aegir's. But if you're in Denison area and Sherman area, that's also a cool place to check out. We went last night. I had Weller Full Proof for $16.
That's really good.
That's a pretty good price. And I will say, I haven't had Weller Full Proof in a while. And the only Weller Full Proof I've been having is Store Picks, and they're very good. But I really enjoyed it last night. Again, I think that might be my favorite Weller product. But
I like the CYPB. It's hard to beat that.
I know.
It's really good.
I don't have enough of it. Like, I seem to be able to get my hands on more Full Proof.
A small sample from Randall. It's like, man, it's really good.
So I agree. I think CYPB is probably my favorite as well. But again, those vary quite a bit from bottle to bottle. But I think from the 107 to the 12 to the Full Proof, I think Full Proof has become kind of my staple in the Weller lineup.
I mean, Full Proof's really good for sure.
So, but the blendery, we went there. We did a pick with Damon from Open Season
Operator.
Yeah, for sure. We picked a rye, and I am not kidding you.
95.5 rye.
This is one of the best ryes I've ever had in my life. And every time I go back to it, it gets better. And I'm a Thomas H. Handy. Like, that's my favorite rye on the planet. And I love the Jack Daniel's single barrel special release 2020 that Ty Sims. Thank you, my friend.
I'm not going to lie. I like this more.
Then what?
Than the Jack 2020.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's something about this blend. It has
It's
nothing
up there.
to do with the bias of that it's a bourbon nerds blend or whatever. But I love the flavor profiles on this whiskey.
It's so good. It's
more
the
than
best MGP rye. And the only thing that's compared is the short barrel that Theron let us try, the 12-year short barrel. I want to do a side-by-side because...
I wish I wouldn't have already been super intoxicated by the time we got over to Theron's, because I don't remember a lot of the stuff we tried.
He was just
over
really
his house.
tired. He didn't drink that much.
We had already had a blendery day, and so I was pretty...
Yeah, we
I
tried a lot
apologize
of Blendery.
to Theron, because if we had gotten a little too crazy or not. But.
No, it was all good. We had a good time. But yeah, Theron, we had a good time with Theron. He went to the Blendery with us, a part of our Bourbon Nerds group. Daniel was with us. Jamie was supposed to be with us, but the guy got flu. So weak sauce. So
I'd just like to say I'd like to contribute, pay my tributes to my wife for bringing the flu into our house. I'm just kidding. I actually love my wife to death. Yeah, if y'all don't know her, she's a fun character to deal with, but couldn't imagine living life with anyone else. So calling her out.
yeah, if you guys can pray for Jamie now because he's going to be sleeping on the couch all week.
She's like, "Well, you spit on what for good times?"
Yeah. So we're talking. I mean, again, it goes back to what we're about. We're about bringing people together, having a great time, sharing what we love, what we are passionate about. We're talking about Cool Whiskey Lounge. People, it's about your passion. It's about driving to make your dream come a reality. It's something that Garrett and I are living day to day now with this podcast and the people we're meeting and the experiences and doors that have opened up for us. So, I just wanted to kind of hit on that a little bit, pull your heart out, and just, we appreciate all the support. I mean, everybody's been amazing, and I wish sometimes they would be a little more constructive. It's like, you guys are great, you're doing awesome, but Garrett and I are really focused on getting better. We want to provide good value content. We want to continue to learn, meet new people, share experiences that you enjoy, and be a part of us and what we're doing in our community. So we thank everyone that has listened to us. We just eclipsed our 1,000 download mark, which is a huge milestone for us. And I know that may seem like 1,000 downloads, dude, I've got 40,000 subscribers, but that's a big milestone for us. And again, phase 2 for us is to videos, do a lot more video. And I know we've been talking about for a minute, but we're getting really close. We've just got our LLC, which make us legit. We've got basically our merchandise all ready to go. We just need to get the funding for it, which is coming soon, and we'll have that available. Some hats and shirts I think you'll really like. We just rebranded, but we're also kind of doing a tweak,
So I'm Choctaw.
Choctaw.
That was really random. I'm Choctaw. So
Cherokee and Choctaw, baby. She's a Choctaw. She's a one of a kind.
So I qualify for a lot of benefits. So she said, the business lady had said that we qualify for our logo, and we love our logo and what we have, but if it could be tweaked and everything, it'd be nice. So we send it off to see if anything could be, improved.
Yeah, improved.
But if not, then we'll just have what we have, and we already have an invoice for merchandise, and so we'll just order it and start releasing it. So
we're really excited, and we made some good contacts at one of the events, which we'll talk about on the next episode
for sure.
And we might have a pick coming sooner than we experienced, but we'll see. I've got some follow up to do on that. So, and we'll create our little Bourbon Nerds pick crew. So I've got an idea, a few guys that I know a few guys that know a little bit about whiskey that I would like to bring along with us.
Yeah, that's new to me.
Yeah, for sure. So, Jamie, I'm going to give you the last word here on the old Bourbon Nerds podcast.
Yeah, let us know what's going on.
Yeah. I appreciate y'all having me on today. The biggest thing I cannot preach this enough. Try stuff before you buy. When it comes to whiskey, there's so much out there. I think Garrett had mentioned earlier, he was going on the back end of his second year of his bourbon journey, and
1 year was in November.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean it's tough. You want to, you're excited about it.
Yeah,
you want to buy
try
everything. You want to try everything. I would just highly suggest become friends with anyone and everyone. The whiskey community is the best community out there. You will become friends and family with these people. Everyone is willing to share, like no matter what the bottle is. Like I can tell you now, like I can guarantee you, I could go to Cody's house, he could come to my house. We will pop open the most expensive bottles that we have and have a good time. So if I can't preach it enough, try it before you buy it, because everyone's taste profiles are different. Going back to the good times, I know that was part of our the story at the beginning. I brought a couple of good time bottles. The Neapolitan, I was getting nothing but strawberry notes and chocolate notes, and Cody was getting nothing but vanilla and chocolate. So I mean, yeah, it's complete different for everybody. So just try it before you buy it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Again, thank you, Jamie, for coming on. Been looking forward to having you on, and looking forward to you being a huge part of our bourbon community. So, I was going to say something else really important, and it slipped my mind. It does that second time. I know he's keeping track over here. I feel like he's like my wife, my bourbon wife, Darren. But it'll come to me, I think. Garrett, you got anything else?
Nope.
Go
Lakers.
All right. I swear to God.
Thunder up, baby.
All right, I'm about to beat Jamie to the inch of his life, but and then steal his Willet Purple Top from him.
Purple's getting drank,
Yeah, so try it before you buy it. The old Jamie Summit, Kingston, Oklahoma. Yeehaw!
I agree with that. I think you should definitely make friends with people who have bourbon already. You try it.
I was gonna say join the Brotherhood, the Bourbon Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, I'm Cody.
I'm Garrett.
And we are the Bourbon Nerds. Thanks guys for tuning in. Appreciate the support.
Appreciate you guys.
Drink responsibly.